Hi friends, welcome to Parshetti's Pulmonology. Today's topic is mechanical ventilator. This is the part 1. Later we'll be doing the subsequent parts. Before studying about mechanical ventilator, let's just study in brief about what is ventilation. Ventilation, it is a process by which air moves in and out of the lungs. Okay, simple definition, process by which air moves in and out of the lungs. And the devices which help in ventilation are known as mechanical ventilators. As you can see the figure here, this is an isolated alveoli from the lung. This is an isolated airway. This is an alveoli, and this is the blood flow flowing through the alveoli. The normal tidal volume is 500 ml. Tidal volume is the volume of air which we either inspire or expire during the normal respiration. It is roughly around 350 to 500. We have taken it here as 500 ml. The normal respiratory rate we have taken as 15. It usually varies from 12 to 20. So per minute, so the total ventilation will be 7500. 500 into 12 into 15 will be 7500 ml per minute. So total ventilation that a normal person requires per minute is 7.5 liters or 7500 ml. So all the tidal volume does not reach the alveoli. There is something known as anatomical dead space and alveolar space. Anatomical dead space is the volume of air which is present in the conducting airway and which does not take part in the respiration. So it's around 150 ml. So if we subtract 150 from 500, it will be 350. Multiplication of 350 into 15 is 5250, means around 5.25 liters or 5250 ml of air reaches the alveoli. And the normal pulmonary blood flow is around 5000. So on calculating the ratio of ventilation to perfusion, it will be approximately 1. So this is the basic of the ventilation: tidal volume, anatomical dead space, alveolar ventilation, and the pulmonary blood flow, and the alveolar and perfusion, ventilation perfusion ratio. Okay, this is the basis about ventilation. Next, coming to the ventilation, how is the ventilation divided? It's divided into the spontaneous ventilation, which all the normal living being do. That is a spontaneous. We all breathe spontaneously. That is known as spontaneous ventilation. Another is known as mechanical. Mechanical means, as I already told you, with help of some devices. It can be either positive pressure mechanical ventilation or negative pressure mechanical ventilation. This is negative pressure mechanical ventilation. Here the person is inside the chamber, and during inspiration the chamber moves out so that the negative pressure is created and the chest expands and the air moves in, and during expiration the chamber compresses and the air moves out. This is known as negative pressure ventilation. This is used very rarely now. Mainly it's used in the neuromuscular disorders. This is the positive, and one more is the positive pressure ventilation. It can be further divided into non-invasive and invasive. Invasive is the process by which we deliver the ventilation either through endotracheal tube or through tracheostomy. This is about the ventilation classification. So what basically we need to study about the ventilators, mechanical ventilators is scalars, graphics, and the loops. Okay, in today's video we will study only about the scalars. What is scalar? These are the waveforms. Scalars are the waveforms. Representation of the pressure, volume, and flow on the y-axis, on the time on the x-axis. Okay, waveform representation of the pressure, volume, and flow on the y-axis and the time on the x-axis. So this is a picture of an ventilator. There are three graphics. You can see different graphics, 1, 2, and 3. First, you can see it's in centimeter H2. It has to be pressure. This is the pressure versus time scalar. Above is the pressure scalar. This is liter per minute. Then it has to be the flow. Then it is second is the flow graphics. Third, it's in ml. So it's in volume. So pressure, flow, and volume scalars means there are totally three scalars: pressure scalar, flow scalar, and volume scalar. All are with versus with time. This is known as scalars. We are going to study in detail about each of the three scalars. First, coming to the flow versus time scalar. There are different patterns of the flow. I have first pattern which I want to discuss is square type of flow, which is seen usually in the volume control mode of ventilation. We'll study later what is volume control. First, coming to the square type flow of the flow scalar. As you can see the graph here, this is a pictorial representation. On y-axis its flow and on x-axis its time. So during this is the beginning of an inspiration. Please follow my cursor mark. This is the beginning of inspiration. As the air as the inspiration starts, it reaches a peak known as peak inspiratory flow rate. PIFR is peak inspiratory flow rate, and then it maintains a constant and comes down and ends here at this 0 mark, and again goes below the 0, that is known as expiratory limb. Anything above this line is inspiratory limb and below this line is expiratory limb, and again comes back to the 0 mark. The tip of the expiration is known as peak expiratory flow rate. Okay, anything above this line is known as inspiratory limb, below is expiratory limb. Beginning of inspiration, beginning of expiration. Inspiration starts and reaches a peak, maintains a constant, then comes down, then expiration starts, then reaches a peak expiratory flow rate, and then this is an expiratory limb. Inspiratory limb, expiratory limb. This is a square type flow. Okay, just remember it's mainly used in mainly seen in volume control type. There are different patterns. These are the different patterns of the volume scalar. Square type, which I already told you, seen in volume control mode. Next is a deaccelerating type. Means the pressure, you can see here, this is a deaccelerating type. Means the flow is not constant here. Here in volume control the flow is constant. Here the flow is not constant, it's reducing. It's mainly seen in pressure control. This is accelerating type of flow. And the fourth type is sine type. It's seen mainly in the spontaneous ventilation. Okay, square, deaccelerating, accelerating. Square seen in volume control, deaccelerating seen in and accelerating seen in pressure control, and sine seen in spontaneous type of ventilation. So 4 different patterns of ventilation. So after knowing the basic of a flow pattern, we need to know how we can use these pattern in day-to-day troubleshooting. Okay, I have selected 1, 2, 3, 4 troubleshooting pattern which we come across routinely in the practice. This is a pictorial representation. Later I will show you the ventilator graphics. As I told you, square type, beginning of inspiration, peak inspiratory flow rate, then comes your expiration. Here peak expiratory flow rate and come back to the 0. You can compare the 1 and 2. The expiratory limb has been shortened and the time taken for the expiration is more. Okay, means the peak expiratory flow rate, if you compare the two things, it's low. So it's low peak expiratory flow rate, and the duration and the expiration duration is longer. So what does it suggest? Means something that is obstructing the air from coming out. So it takes more time for expiration. It's known as airway obstruction. So when you see this type of low PEFR and longer duration of expiration, you need to suspect airway obstruction. Coming to the second pictorial representation, normal inspiration. As you can see, the expiratory limb does not touch the baseline. Okay, it should touch the baseline ideally. See here, the expiratory limb is touching the baseline, but here it does not touch the baseline. Instead, it ends and goes up again and meets the 0 line. So it is suggestive of air trapping. Air trapping can be seen in diseases like COPD, asthma, and also in conditions called as autopeak, where there is an excessive peep generated because of the incomplete expiration. Okay, it is seen mainly when we set an expiratory rate less than the required time, or when there is an airway obstruction due to bronchospasm or mucous obstruction. We see this type of pattern known as autopeep or airway trapping. Just remember this. Third pictorial representation is high peak inspiratory flow. Then this is a normal inspiratory flow. When there is a high peak inspiratory flow, you can see when there is an upward shift of the peak flow graph. It is seen when we are not given adequate time for the inspiration, or when we keep the flow rate exceeding the patient's requirement. So high peak flow inspiratory flow is seen when the inspiratory time given for the patient is not adequate, or when the flow given to the patient is more. Coming to the fourth pictorial representation, that is inadequate flow. Here the patient flow is inadequate, and so the patient is taking more voluntary respiration in order to increase the flow rate. So we see this type of pictorial representation. It is because of inadequate flow. Suppose a patient requires around 100 liter per minute, but we have set it around 80 liter per minute. So the patient will be struggling for more flow. At that time there will be an inspiratory effort seen here, and it is known as inadequate flow. This is a pictorial representation. First one is airway obstruction, airway trapping, high peak inspiratory flow, and inadequate flow. Next, coming to the how can we make this out on ventilator. First is the air trapping. The second pictorial representation which I showed you shows that the expiratory limb is not touching the baseline. Okay, the expiratory limb is not touching the baseline, and it ends up till here. Okay, and this is known as air trapping or autopy. See, the expiratory limb should ideally touch the baseline, but it's not touching the baseline. Instead, it's forming a straight segment, and it is known as autopy. See, mainly in COPD or acute exacerbation of asthma, or because of autopy. Second, one more type is recognizing the ineffective or wasted patient effort. Sometimes we require certain amount of threshold which the patient should cross to start an inspiration, but that does not happen. That is known as ineffective or wasted respiratory effort. Ideally, this should cross the baseline in order to create an breath, but the patient efforts are inadequate, so it could not create a breath. Here and here you can see. Okay, these are known as wasted patient efforts. Okay, air trapping and wasted patient effort. This is about flow scalar. Now coming to the pressure scalar. Pressure scalar are different for both volume control and pressure control. First, coming to the volume control. Please follow the cursor. This is the beginning. Y-axis it's the flow pressure, and the x-axis it's the time. Pressure versus time scalar. Inspiration begins here, and then there is an increase in the pressure, and then it reaches a peak known as peak inspiratory pressure. PIP is peak inspiratory pressure, and then it comes down and maintains a plateau known as P plat. This is known as P plat, and the difference between the P and the straight segment resembles the airway resistance, and then which comes gradually known as expiration. Okay, here the expiration starts and the inspiration ends. This is an expiration and this is an inspiration. Inspiration, peak inspiratory pressure, airway resistance, P plat, and expiration. So what is P plat? P plat represents the compliance of the lung. When we press an inspiratory hold for about 0.5 seconds in a ventilator, we see something known as a straight line. This is known as P plat. This is known as compliance of the lung. Compliance is how easily the lung can distend with the pressure. Means the volume of change of lung per unit pressure is known as P plat. This is peak inspiratory pressure, and this represents the airway resistance, and this is P plateau, and this is an expiratory limb, mainly seen in volume control. Pressure control, the pressure will be constant. Okay, so it forms a square type of graph. After studying the basic, now let us see how to use these graphics in day-to-day life. Spontaneous type of breathing can be seen by a negative deflection in the pressure type of graph. A negative deflection mainly indicates the spontaneous breath. Otherwise, there will be no. If it is in control mode, then volume control mode, we never see the deflection. But when it's a spontaneous ventilation, we see a negative deflection representing an initial efforts by the patient, negative efforts which triggers the breath. This is spontaneous. Second is airway resistance. As I already told you, this is it begins here the beginning of inspiration, then it reaches a peak. If the airway resistance is high, because this represents the airway resistance, if it is high, there will be high peak inspiratory pressure. See, here this is the normal. Normally it should follow this graph, but it is taking this pathway. Then the airway resistance is high, and this represents the P plat, which is normal, and then an expirated. When the airway resistance is high, we see this type of pictorial representation. Coming to the third is low lung compliance. As I told you, the P plat shows the compliance. When there is a high P plat, means the compliance of the lung is low. No, inspiration starts, normal PIP is high, then the P plat is high, which represents the compliance of the lung is low, and then comes the expiration. This is seen in condition of mainly ILD or an ARDS. Okay. Next comes an inadequate flow. Okay, inadequate flow pattern. Even in the pressure scalar, we can make the whether the flow is adequate or inadequate. Okay, this is an inadequate flow and this is an adequate flow. Okay, so basically 4 types of pressure scalar: spontaneous, airway resistance, low lung compliance, and inadequate flow. Now let's see how we can make this out in an ventilator. Okay, as I shown you, as we discussed previously, the decreased lung compliance. See here, this is the airway resistance, peak inspirated pressure, and the P plat. P plat is high. There is no much difference here. The P plat is very high, showing that the lung compliance is low. And coming to the second one, means it represents an inadequate flow. Okay, normally the pressure wave should be like a shark fin of a shark. But when it goes like a scooped out appearance, it shows that the flow is less and the patient requirement is high. Okay, means it's a pressure scalar showing the inadequate flow. Normally it should be shark fin, but when the flow is low, it shows scooped out appearance. Third, it's a pressure waveform showing the increased airway resistance. As I already discussed in the pictorial representation. See here, inspiration, this is the peak inspirated pressure, and this is an airway resistance. The airway resistance is very high. Okay, and then comes the P plat, which is normal. Airway resistance could be high because of the mucus plugging, COPD, asthma, and single lung ventilation. All those things that is to increase airway resistance. Okay, this is about pressure scalar. Now coming to the volume versus time scalar. This is a simple scalar. Here the y-axis we take volume and the x-axis we take time, and it reaches the adequate amount of or a set amount of the volume. And the important application is seen here is air leak. When during inspiration it rises, and during expiration when it falls, ideally it should reach the baseline, but it doesn't reach it falls short of reaching the baseline, and it is because of the air leak in the system. It could be because of the ET tube or in the ventilator. We need to check again for the air leak. Okay, this is a basic application of the volume versus time scalar. Coming to the other miscellaneous things which we usually see in the scalar patterns in the ventilator is, one is because of the secretion building up in the tubing circuit. See, this is a pressure curve. Ideally it should be smooth like a shark fin, which I already told you. If there is a secretion, there will be like a disturbance, like a turbulence seen in the pressure curve. Okay, and it can be seen even in the volume scalar. Okay, this represents presence of secretion. At time we need to do suction, give mucolytics, and give bronchodilators. Okay, then recognizing the double triggering. Okay, as you can see here, before an expiration comes, there is a second trigger by the patient, which indicates that the inspiratory and the volume given is not adequate for the patient requirement. So it goes for into double triggering. Okay, you can see here 2 times the patient has triggered the same curve. And now next, coming to the last type, that is recognizing the lung over distension. This is because of the high peak pressure and the plateau pressure. When there is an excess amount of the flow or volume or tidal volume which we give, we see this type of picture here, and it can be seen also in patients with low lung compliance, that is ARDS or single lung ventilation. As you can see, there are high peak pressure, okay, and high plateau pressure. You can see this is a plateau pressure, high peak pressure, high plateau pressure, and it is always accompanied by the high expiratory flow rates. Okay, indicating lung over distension seen in ARDS, excessive, when we give excessive tidal volume or excessive flow rate, and single length intubation. Okay, these are the other miscellaneous scalas which we usually see. Okay, so coming to the end, there are three different scalas: flow, pressure, and volume scalar. And we have studied the first the pictorial representation, and then graphics in, and then the graphics in the ventilation, how to make it, how to recognize it on the ventilation. Okay, thank you everyone for the patient listening. Please share, like, and subscribe. Okay, I'll be soon back with the part 2 of the mechanical ventilator. Thank you.